Morning, guys. February. Oh, this ain't February. This is March the 28th here in Central Illinois, the most corrupt and bankrupt state in the Union. I just thought I'd show you something that some of you might be interested in. I've been working on this Bing 1 gauge, and it's a struggle to find three-rail track here in the United States. And at one time, I had a huge box of 1 gauge track from Bing and Markland. Stuff was expensive. I never knew what radius I was getting, so I made my own, and I'll show you what we did. We converted standard gauge track. That's all this is. This is standard gauge, and we moved the rails in. And what we used was, you can see this is the clips that hold down the rail. We moved the rail into the interior clip, and and these are hollow on the inside, and slide that down and on top of it. And that makes the gauge just about perfect, believe it or not. And this is what I did in the process, because I wanted to make sure I was right. My friend at the machine shop made me a gauge, and from inside to inside, that measurement is 1 3/4 inches, or close enough for government work. Now, here again, you just take your ties and you move that rail to the inside, and that gives you the right gauging for your stuff, your track. And what I like about this is, like I say, I used to have a lot of original track. Original track will mate to this with no problem. The rail height was perfect. So yeah, I can't make and wouldn't make 1 gauge switches, but you could take existing 1 gauge switches or 1 gauge crossovers and made it to your new track. Now, one of the things I liked about it is that top loop, that's a 57-inch radius. So it's perfect for stuff like that. The other thing that you can do, if you want to, 1 gauge will run on 5-rail track, but it all depends on the locomotive. The cars are virtually no problem at all, because the wheels on the cars are not staked, or basically affixed to the axle. They float left, back and forth. But I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's see. Let's do the other way. It's tight, and sometimes it's less than that. And while you can run it, and I will run it, but I'll run it carefully. If you'll watch this thing go down the track, it's got a hitch in its get along, and that's because the wheels are trying to crawl up over the rails. Now, if I were running this Markland, that Markland 1 gauge, for some odd reason, is absolutely perfect, as is a Bing 040 that I've got with spoon collectors. Now, these have got rollers. This one's all right. That locomotive up there, the rollers fall between these two rails here and shorts it out, so it doesn't work. But in this case, this one works all right, and I'll show you. And hopefully, you'll see this hitch in its get along. I don't want it going too fast, because I don't want it crawling up over the track and onto the floor. You'll notice it more coming down this way when you see it head on. You see how it's doing that? Well, she's trying to crawl up over the track. So you got to be careful when you're running it like this one in particular. But like I say, the Markland and the other Bing that I've got, no problem. And the cars, you never have a problem with the cars. So I just thought if you guys were interested in making your own 1 gauge track, this is a simple way of doing it. Of course, when you make a curve, since you're moving the rails in, you'll have one side that's longer than the other, so you're going to have a Dremel tool, or if you like using a hacksaw, have at it. I like the Dremel tool. You'll have to even everything up. And you might even have, it changes the radius ever so slightly. I can't remember. I think I've got a short piece of curve either in this end or the other end, because you put it all together and you've got like maybe a 6-inch gap. So you got to make a six-inch piece to fit in between it. But if you want basically flawless running in 1 gauge and you can't find the track that you want, make your own. It's easy. Anybody can do it. Hell, I'm a truck driver and I could do it. How much simpler could that be? All right, guys. I'll let you go. You all have a good weekend. We're right at the very cusp of it. I'm ready for the weekend, although every day of my life since I've retired is a weekend. But there's still something special about the weekend. Stay out of trouble. Hopefully you won't have any storms wherever you're at. They're calling for some here. All right, guys. Have a good one. Toodaloo.